Raise your hand if you want to be average. Stamp your feet if you want to be part of the beige soup. No? Jump up and down if you want to fade into mediocrity. None of you. Who wants to be 5-star? Okay. Well, to be 5-star, we need to think less about the guest experience. Who would have thought that? And more about the employee experience. For years and years and years, we focused so much on the guest experience, trying to be innovative, creating new products and new services, but we haven't placed the same focus and attention that we need to on the employee experience. And that's what I'm going to talk to you today about, how to focus on how delivering an amazing 5-star culture and employee experience will ultimately lead to creating a better guest experience. I have 8 key things which we need to do to create this fantastic employee experience. First of all, we need to find the right people for our business. We need to invest in them, develop them to get the best out of them, making sure that every day we live the values of our organizations. We need to engage and communicate with them regularly and in the way they want to be communicated with, and support them, look after their well-being, and make sure they have everything they need to do their job well. We need to trust them, so that we can in turn be trusted and lead through having a positive attitude and culture in our organizations and recognizing our people for the work they do every single day, not just the big wins. And ultimately, there are 2 types of people in our businesses. There are those that are ruining it right now, and the ones that will ruin it if we don't look after them. And those are the people that I call Adams. They come into our lives, they're ambitious, they're determined. We don't look after them, we don't support their well-being, we don't develop them, we don't have a positive culture. They turn into arsey megalomaniacs. I want you to think about, when you've been in teams, who are the Adams in those teams? I was an Adam once. So I'm going to talk to you today about how to create a 5-star culture and build 5-star teams. And in particular, I'm going to focus on how to get to the top talent and find the right people for your organizations and teams. I'm going to talk to you about trust and the importance of empowerment, not micromanaging, and how to support people and look after their well-being so they can do their jobs well. Now, the first one I want to talk to you today about is VUCA. Who's familiar with the acronym VUCA? Anyone? No? Okay, so VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. That's how I describe myself on Tinder. And it's really important to think about these factors, and we live in a VUCA world. I think the last 2 years with COVID-19 has taught us that we live in this volatile, uncertain world. And this is really important when we think about talent and recruitment as well. We have a changing employee landscape. People have different needs. We have the gig economy now. We have digital nomads. We have a changing world where people can work from anywhere, anytime, and they want to have that flexibility. But we don't always know what they want. So we need to find out what their needs are so that we can meet them. We need to be VRIN. As organizations, when we're employing people, we're offering them something. And this is where we need to think more like marketing and less like recruitment. We need to understand the marketplace, and we need to create a product. That product is our employee value proposition, what we're offering to our potential employees. And it has to be valuable. Whatever we're offering to those people has to be valuable, otherwise they won't want it. They won't come and work for us. It has to be rare, because if everyone's offering the same thing, then why should anyone choose our organization over another organization? And then we want it to be inimitable. And I normally have problems saying that word. But it needs to be something that people can't copy. In hospitality in particular, we're very guilty of copying. If we work in a hotel, we'll go to another hotel. We'll say, oh, I like that. I'm going to do that in my hotel too. But we have no competitive advantage if everyone can just copy what the next business is copying. So we need to offer something that people can't copy. And then N stands for non-substitutable, so something that people can't substitute in its place. I came here by flight. I could have driven, I wouldn't have got here on time. I could have taken the bus. Those are substitutions. We need to offer something as organizations that is non-substitutable. And we need to recognize that we can't be all things to all people. Who likes cheese-flavored ice cream? Thank you. What's your favorite flavor ice cream? Strawberry. Chocolate. Vanilla. All of them. Fantastic. Pistachio. Lovely. But we can't have everything. Near where I live, there's an ice cream parlor that has every flavor of ice cream that you could possibly imagine, apart from cheese-flavored. I'm not their customer. We need to focus on what our market wants and be able to deliver that to be able to do it well. We need to recognize that there are different market segments for employing people, just in the same way as there are for attracting customers and guests into our businesses. And they all have different needs. We can only have one employee value proposition, but we can tailor the messaging and the targeting of the way we attract people to those different needs. And we need to always remember to find the right people for our business. Does anyone know who this is? Dennis Rodman. I wish I had hair like him. Dennis Rodman was key to the success of the Chicago Bulls basketball team. Not because he scored the most points, but because he was the best rebounder. They needed someone who was the best rebounder to get the ball back to them whenever someone missed a shot. We need to think about who we need to bring in as the Dennis Rodmans in our teams. It doesn't always have to be the superstar who scores the most points. We need to have the right people doing the right roles at the right time. We need to be more Daft Punk. We need to work harder when we're thinking about attracting talent. Make all of our processes better to get to that top talent faster and make our team stronger. So if you're thinking about bringing talent into a team, be more Daft Punk. And once we've got the right people in our team, we need to look after them. We need to look after them so that they can deliver the results that we want. And I firmly believe in the phrase that busyness kills business. Quite often we're too busy running around, our operations are chaotic and hectic, and we miss things. We make mistakes. We miss opportunities to delight our customers, to increase our sales, and to save on costs because we're too busy running around on autopilot. And ultimately that leads to burnout. If we don't look after our teams and make sure we have the right balance between the demands we put on them and the support that we give them, it will lead to them burning out. I want to share with you some results from a study by Yale University. So they surveyed over 1,000 people in different organizations in the United States and found that 40% of those who were surveyed had the right level of demands and support. And they described them as being optimally engaged, in the best position to deliver results for the business. 20% of those who were surveyed, however, they had the same level of support as the other group, but they had much higher demands on them. So they had an imbalance between the demands and the support, and they were described as being burnt out. You think about 20% of people in any organization or in any team experiencing burnout. Now, I want to see how burnt out you all are. So in a second, I'm going to put a picture on the screen, and when the picture goes up, I'm going to ask you a question. I want to ask you the question. I want you to shout out the answer. Is that okay? Okay. So I want to see how quickly you can get the answer. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. Fantastic. What color's the fridge? What do cows drink? Some of you think that cows drink water. Most of you think that cows drink milk. No, you don't. You know that cows drink milk. But the point is, we're too busy. We're on autopilot. We're not thinking about what we're doing. And sometimes we just need to pause and center ourselves before we continue. We need to take that moment just to think, not busy running around, killing our business. So if we're recruiting the right people, getting the best people in our teams in the right places at the right time, and we're looking after them and supporting their well-being so they can do their best work and they're not burnt out, then we need to trust them to do that work. We need to trust them to do that work. And if we're building trust, there are two key elements: competence and warmth. If we're going to trust people, and if people are going to trust us, we need to have competence and warmth to gain trust. Quite often, we are really good at one and not so much the other. Quite often when you go to conferences and you're all talking about what's happening, we're all talking about competence. In hotels, I used to get so frustrated with this. You go to a conference, oh, how's business? Yeah, really good. We've achieved this average room rates. We've achieved this RevPAR. We've achieved this GOP. It's all about competence, trying to display how competent we are. And we get some people who don't talk about that at all. They just want to be liked, and it's okay to want to be liked. But we're building that warmth. But if people are going to trust us and we're going to trust them, we need to have the right balance of competence and warmth. And I'm going to illustrate that to you today with examples from The Simpsons. Now, first of all, I want to talk to you about Lisa Simpson. Lisa's quite friendly, very pleasant, and she's top of her class. And I personally would trust Lisa Simpson with most things. Homer Simpson, however, lovely chap, not too bright. And I personally wouldn't trust Homer with anything, much less a box of donuts. Moe the bartender. Now, he has fallen for the same joke in every single episode of The Simpsons, and I'm sure you can tell by his facial expression, he's not very friendly. I really wouldn't want to trust Moe with anything. And lastly, Mr. Burns. Now, he is highly competent. He runs his own business. But he's not a particularly warm chap, and he would stab you in the back at any opportunity. And I would avoid trusting him like the plague. But as well as building trust, we need to think about how we trust other people as well. And if we don't trust other people, they're never going to trust us. One of the biggest problems in business is that of micromanagement. And this happens all the time in hotels. We spend a long time finding all of these people, the right people for the right job, investing in them, developing them, communicating with them, supporting them. And then we work every hour that we need to just to make sure that they're doing everything right. If we spend all of that time and money and investment in getting the right people and getting them into the position to do their jobs well, shouldn't we trust them to do that? And if we trust people to do that and we empower them, then that's when we can get real results. That's when the magic happens. And I want to talk to you about a story that happened to me. And it was an experience that I had in Calais in France. Has anyone been to Calais in France? One person likes buying wine. Fantastic. That's the only reason that anyone goes to Calais, is they go from England to Calais to buy cheap wine. Now, I've got two young kids, Alice and Henry. And one day, we live just on the other side, on the coast in England. So we just went across, quick journey across. We thought, we'll go across there, we'll buy some cheap wine, we'll take it home. Happy days, save some money. But when you've got young children, they need to be entertained. You need to do something with them. Otherwise, they get very bored, and that becomes very stressful. And we found that in Calais, they have the Meccano Lab. Fantastic. 2 hours where we can go in, let them play with Meccano, put our feet up, and relax. And my kids love building things, whether it's Lego, Duplo, anything. They love building. Making models is their favorite thing to do. But they get quite possessive over them, and they get really upset with each other if anyone breaks each other's model. That's like the end of the world for them. So when it got to the end of the 2 hours we were there, we had to go back and get the train back to England. We said, we need to go now. And they'd made these fantastic models, and they wanted to take them with them. And I said, no, this is a museum. We can't take them with them. But they didn't want anyone else to have them. So my daughter Alice was particularly precious about this model that she made, and she wanted to hide it so that nobody else could play with it. So first of all, she found this big model in the museum. It was a huge fire engine. And she started going behind the fire engine to tuck it in. And this big, burly French guy came up and, "Excusez-moi, mademoiselle, ne touche pas." Now, I don't know what that means, but I don't think it was good. So she spent a little bit more time thinking about what she could do, and in the end said, "I'm sorry, we've got to go." And as I got up from my seat, She looked at my seat, and it was a box, basically, with a wooden lid. So she lifted the lid and put the model inside the seat and closed it down so that nobody else would find it and be able to play with it. Now, time to leave, get back to the car, get back to the train. We're walking out the door, and I get a tap on my shoulder. Now, I've not had a tap on my shoulder since I was shoplifting as a child. I panicked. I didn't really shoplift as a child. And it was this big, burly Frenchman. Excusez-moi, monsieur. So I turned around, and he was standing there with this model. He said, "This is for your daughter." And a warm, fuzzy feeling came over me all of a sudden. I was taken aback, and I said, "Thank you, thank you very much." He said, what made you do that? He said, "We are empowered to do anything that we want to do to look after our customers and our visitors." And I just thought, that is such a simple thing to do. It cost them virtually nothing, and it absolutely made their day. This is Gregoire, the burly Frenchman who tapped me on the shoulder. These are my children, Alice and Henry, with their model. Since going to the Meccano lab in Calais, I have spent an absolute fortune on Meccano. So that simple act through the empowerment from Gregoire has had fantastic results for Meccano. One simple thing cost them very little. This is the boat that they made. Does anyone know how many times they've played with this boat since I spent all of the money on the Meccano? Twice. I have presented this at more conferences than they've played with it. It just goes to show the importance of empowerment and trust in our businesses to achieve success. Now, I've talked to you today about how to find the best people for our businesses, the right people for the right roles. I've taught you about how it's important to look after their well-being so they can do their best work, and how we need to build trust and empower our people to deliver those results. But this is not an a la carte menu. We can't just pick and choose which ones we do. We might need to focus on different things at different times and do more of them as the people in our businesses change and as the landscape that we work in changes. But this is a full 8-course tasting menu. We need to excel at every single one of them in order to build the 5-star culture, to look after the Adams in our teams. But if we do all of that, we can create a 5-star culture. We can build 5-star teams. And those 5-star teams can help us reach our 5-star dreams. But if we do all of that, if we achieve all of those results, then we need to tell people that they've done well. We need to say, "Well done." Sir Alex Ferguson, one of the most successful leaders in sporting history, said the 2 most important words in leadership are "well done." Well done. A pat on the back, a handshake, well done. We need to be recognized for the work that we do, and not just those big results, not just the big bonus at the end of the year, but every single day, the contributions that every single person makes to our organizations. Now, as a keynote speaker, I'm used to being recognized for what I do. I'm used to standing ovations. The last 2 years with the pandemic has been horrendous for me. Everything on Zoom. No one gives you a standing ovation on Zoom. No one wants to get up and thrust their crotch in front of their camera when they're not wearing any trousers. But I can tell you it feels really, really special when you get that recognition. So today we're going to make someone feel really, really special. So I need a volunteer. Who wants to feel really special? Please come up on stage. Thank you. Round of applause, please. Thank you. Welcome, 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 welcome. What's your name, sorry?
Angela.
Angela.
Yes.
Angela, Now, we're going to make you feel very special. Are you ready? Okay. Now, in a second, I want you to all give Angela the biggest, most rapturous standing ovation you could possibly imagine. Are you ready? Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How do you feel now? Emotional. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. You're welcome to take your seat. Thank you, Angela. Okay. So I'm sure you can all see how important it is to give people recognition, to make them feel special. And if we can make the people in our teams feel special like that every single day, can you imagine the impact that that will have on our businesses? So I just want to finish up today by saying thank you. Thank you very much to Marina and her team here for inviting me to speak. Thank you very much to the Alexanders in the team who came here especially this morning to help me prepare. Thank you to Angela for coming up on stage and being part of this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank every single one of you, because I could never do this without you. Thank you very much indeed.